It's a good thing. So
Yeah,
very proud of them both.
He's about to be out of the Army pretty soon.
Starting the police academy in January.
In what was it?
In North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah. Told him to be a fireman, but you don't want to listen to that.
Kids don't listen to their parents anyway. Did you listen to your parents?
Nope.
Here we go. And there you sit. All right. So congratulations. How's your other boy?
He's good. Took him back yesterday to Hamilton, and we talked off there that I'm really, really grateful to be here because after I dropped him off, coming back from Hamilton to Gatesville, I was nearly hit head on.
In your personal vehicle?
Yeah, my brand new truck. Just made my payment on it, but wouldn't have mattered because it would have been totaled, and I probably would have.
You'd been dead. Huh?
But that's how we talk about distracted driving. We always touch on that. That's the number one cause, and there's a lot of Houston to West Texas traffic with these big pipe trucks, and I'm always watching them. It's very heavily traveled. It's just a two-way road. There's no center divider or anything. And, watching all the trucks go by, looking at all the pipe, thinking about all the money that they're going to be making. And, there's a line of cars behind these. And I see there's a gap and there was this big black truck. And I saw him kind of drift to the yellow line. And I thought, I was just watching, but he drifted quickly over. And about 10 seconds later, this little white car just comes right into my lane. And, the rumble bumps in the middle apparently didn't distract him because as I see his head's looking down in his lap and his palm of his hand looked like he's on his phone, comes all the way into my lane. And I just slowly took the wheel, turned it off. My right tire and my back duals got in the grass. And I guess he corrected and got back in. But had I not been paying attention, had I been looking at the squirrel or something in the field or changing the radio station, I would have been hit head on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty scary stuff. I see this stuff all the time, and I always have to, that's what I tell everybody, just watch the guy coming at you or gal.
It could always happen to
but
you.
I didn't have time to flip them off or nothing. I was just frozen, but I took that wheel and I turned it, and it scared you. It'll scare you.
Yeah, yeah.
It happens that quick. We had 3 fatalities. Was that just in my area this past week, and one was with the one with the horses you talked about in the news, and another one, the others were in Bell County, and tragic, all of them, of course, but not one person who ever gets in a wreck ever plans on it when they leave the house. That's why you always got to be extra careful.
Now, they say that every one of these could be preventable.
They are.
Outside of a mechanical issue or a medical issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why they no longer call them accidents. They call them crashes. Or collisions.
Yeah.
Because an accident is like, whoopsie, sorry. But they all have contributing factors, whether you're distracted, intoxicated, speeding.
And they say texting is even worse than drunk driving.
It is. You're 20 times more likely to have a crash if you're intoxicated. And of course, this is above my pay grade. I don't do all this smart talk, but that's what I have to think when I do it. You're 24 times more likely to have a crash sending a text.
Wow.
And you got to think about it. The drunk drivers are mostly after 6 p.m. Or early hours in the morning, like 6, 7 in the morning. We do have some people who've been out drinking all night or trying to get home. But texting and driving or distracted driving, that's pretty much all day long. And you got to think these young drivers coming up now, we talked about before, they were born pretty much with a cell phone in their hand.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convince them to put that.
So why isn't the penalty the same for texting as it is DUI?
Oh man, our jails will be full. Our prisons will be full.
Okay, so we don't want that. So
and that's why we do a lot of public awareness. I go to a lot of these schools and I talk to these kids and I show them some videos of crashes. They have those in-car cameras which are amazing. And I wish I had one in my truck yesterday. I showed y'all the video how the pucker factor was there.
Yeah,
for sure.
bet.
But I tell these kids, I try to talk to them, I'm like, they're kids. They don't know any better. We didn't either when we were their age, so they think they're invincible. And just a quick 4-second text. I tell them it takes their eyes off the road for the equivalent of 2 football fields. If that's 70 miles an hour.
So just because it's inconvenient, the penalties can't be the same?
I guess so. I don't know. It's all intentional. We're all tempted with phones and just to see who's texting, who's calling, but do we just tell people pull over, throw your phone in the glove box, throw it in the back seat, and it can wait.
Well, I mean, you can make the incentive a little If I knew I was going to jail for texting,
or maybe
I would not be texting.
Or just give us the power to, when we see you texting, we just smash your phone on the side of the
highway.
There
you go.
Oh,
that'll learn them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, teachers can take your phones up and make you pay them back. Why not?
Smack them upside the back of the head. Tell their mama.
We just throw it out into traffic and say, if you're brave enough to go get it, then go get it. No, we wouldn't.
Yeah, that's some serious stuff, though. Yeah,
it is, and that's what. Any distraction, like I said, just taking a sip of coffee. We're all guilty of putting the cup in and out of the cup holder, just taking your eyes off the road for a half a second or two. And, always keep them eyes forward. It helped me out yesterday. That was a good example of a holy wow moment.
Pay attention moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
So,
everything can be changed in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Either your life or somebody else's.
Statewide, there's now over 30 million people. And as of yesterday, year-to-date crashes, we're nearing the 500,000 mark in crashes.
Really?
And,
wow.
Compared to what?
I don't have last year's stats, but the fatal crash stats were up to almost 3,000 for the year. And
Wow.
we usually finish the year about 4,000 to 4,500. The crashes have always gone up.
Well, so as the population as well.
grows, and that comes with growth, unfortunately. And that's why we're not out there. That's not our duty to control y'all driving. We help by slowing people down and reminding people to wear seatbelts, putting drunks in jail. But it's ultimately every driver's responsibility to do the right thing and
be smart.
Be a good driver.
Casey learned that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She learned not to text and drive.
Yeah.
Good
lesson learned.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, we'll talk today. This month is School Bus Safety Week, October 16th to 20th. We'll go over that toward the end. And, we can talk about, the world has gone upside down on its head. It's on fire right now with everything going on over there, which we can talk about our border. It kind of correlates with our border being wide open. Just this year, we have tracked or have apprehended 153 people that were on the terrorist watch list.
That's what you've apprehended
this year. Last year was 98. The year before that was like 20 something. And then a couple years before that was like 6. And then there was one, I think 2017 was 1. So you got to think with 9.5 to 10 million people are here now illegally since in the last 3 years. And with
I like to be optimistic, but I fear something bad is going to happen as a
we don't
result
know
of
who's
this.
coming in, and that's the problem. The majority, and not tell people all the time, the majority of the people are here to work because there's opportunities here. We get that because Americans won't work; they're lazy. I said it, so but it's true. And so they come up here to work, but there are some that of course, with the drug trafficking, human trafficking, the fentanyl, and everything that's going through this wide open border. It's scary because it's on our doorstep. I mean, look at New York City. They are saying they can't handle it anymore, and they just have how many? We sit up there 500. They can't. They're overwhelmed. They're sleeping.
What
in
do
the
they got?
streets.
12% of what Texas has on a daily basis.
Yeah,
and they're complaining about it.
We're tapped to the end. There's no more room, and our troopers are down there. There's hundreds of troopers that are not being able to perform their jobs on the highway to protect our roads and slow drivers down and stop our drunk drivers. So that's where I think another ripple effect is with our crash numbers going up and as well as our fatality numbers.
Now, as far as the Border Patrol, I've heard rumors. Have they been told not to work with the DPS?
No, they work. I mean, we're basically working hand in hand with them.
Y'all are putting out the razor wire, and they're the ones cutting it.
Well, we're not putting it up, but we're there. But it's I haven't been there in a few years, but I'm watching our guys and gals down there what's going on, and there's no stopping anybody. There's no deterrent. It's come on over, and we're going to get.
So you basically just working your the time clock, and then going home.
And then now that of course, we're shipping them out to other states because we're running out of room, and the cities that are allegedly sanctuary cities that welcome everybody, they're realizing now, wow, we can't handle this. And it's everybody's problem. It is.
Yeah.
And it's a safety issue because you don't know who's coming in. They're coming in from all over the world.
Yeah. I can't see good things happen.
And also, the whole thing with, I don't want to turn the show into the whole thing going on in Israel, but that's something that's going to affect everybody. And there's sympathizers here in these big cities protesting, advocating what happened there is right. I'm not going to tell people what to believe, but when you're beheading babies, raping and killing people in the streets, that's one of the worst things.
Yeah.
And now that it's on social media, you try not to look, but it's there.
It's
and those
everywhere.
Images are burned in your head forever. Those poor people being mowed down at the concert, 300 of them killed there. It's just unbelievable what a human being can do to another. It makes you sick. Animals don't do that to each other.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even put down animals like that.
Yeah, but this savagery is what it is, and it's pure evil, and there's only one way to stop it, and that's annihilate it. And that's the only way that you don't negotiate with. They're not out for something. This is all they understand. Yeah. So they have to be met with the equivalent and then some.
It's and you're not gonna talk them out of it. Yeah, it's a generational
thing.
It
is. And then I've been watching on the news, and I hate watching the news because it's all bad, and these protested. They're just saying they're cheering in our streets of America.
I know
they're advocating it. So if they're advocating it, what's not to say they'll do it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. It's a different world. We would never thought this is going to happen on our own soil, but let's hope it.
You know, and if something, God forbid, something does happen on this soil, I'm not going to be surprised by it.
No. I mean, with a wide open border and millions of people coming in, why? We make it easy for them. It's sad. It is very sad. So
and they're coming after our women and children. Yeah.
Something has to change, and you know, DPS can only do so much. We only have so many hands and boots on the ground, and so much money to be able to do this. We can't send 3,000 troopers to line up the border, especially when we don't have the capability for the feds to send them back.
Right.
So there's millions and millions coming across.
I wonder how much or how less the death toll would have been if there was a Second Amendment in Israel, if the households were able to defend themselves.
Yeah, you never know, because they're going door to door, kicking doors in, and
because they know they're not going to get shot at.
They know, they know, and then try that here. You're going to be met with the equivalent. But yeah, it's sad. I just can't. You know, heart goes out to those people. They're just suffering.
Yeah,
I mean, the things they have to see right before they die, because they don't just kill. They maim and they torture right before they do it. It's awful, because they take such joy in it, and those people they're just, you know, they don't have a word for it.
They're taking their phones from them and videoing the torture, and then sending it on their social media.
It's awful. It's something that, you know, Hitler did some horrible things over there, but it wasn't captured on video. But we hear about it through history of the millions that he killed, and you know, this now they have the capability to share it and make us watch it.
It's everywhere. I read an article about DPS. There's an app, I Watch Texas mobile app.
Yes, I was actually going to go into that.
What is that?
Second. Yeah,
it's urging Texans to remain vigilant after the attacks.
Yeah, matter of fact, Governor Greg Abbott's directive this week was to work with local partners and federal intelligence agencies on heightened public safety measures in light of these recent attacks. And at this time, DPS is not aware of any specific or credible threats to Texas. However, the department does have concerns the current conflict could inspire homegrown violent extremists and foreign terrorist organizations operating in the U.S. As we just talked about, there's people hooting and hollering for this garbage. They target Jewish communities and institutions associated with Israel and outside of the Middle East. So the department encourages Texans to remain vigilant at all times and report any suspicious activity via iWatch Texas. So you go to iWatch Texas, that program, you can report anything suspicious that you deem suspicious that just isn't right. And everybody, you know, like I said before, you don't have to be a cop to know what's not right.
You got a sixth sense about
human
that.
instinct. You know, whether you're a parent or not, you know when a child isn't right, if he's with somebody or she's with somebody that doesn't, the demeanor is all wrong. But it's all confidential. It'll be sent to our analysts and be followed up with. So you may be the person that, you know, you see the guy in the trench coat, it's 90 degrees, he's in the sweater trench coat and pulling out with a guitar case and pulling something out. It's time to run. You know, it's time to report. It's a little late, but yeah, you got to look for stuff that just isn't right.
Yeah.
And definitely report that. So, you know, the governor has allotted, I think, $4 million to secure these synagogues and everything, because unfortunately there's going to be some sympathizers and attacked, and it's not good. So we hope that doesn't happen, but we want to be prepared for it, try to protect these places of worship, because they have been targets. Like you've seen that was that Australian where the guy live streamed him going to the synagogue and just massacring people. It's a few years ago, and it's horrible stuff. So but yeah, maybe talk about some good news here. Let's see what else I have. No, I don't. It's Fentanyl Poisoning Awareness Month. It is good news to bring out there to tell people, because what's going on with this fentanyl is this, that of course everybody knows it's a deadly sympathetic opioid.
Is that slowing down any?
It's actually, no, it's going up. Nearly 100,000 people annually are dying. About 200 plus a day are dying, and
that's a lot of people.
You know, fentanyl, it's what it is. It's pressed into these fake pills or cut into these street drugs such as methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, or stuff somebody thinks they're taking a Xanax. You know, a lot of these high school kids, they like to experiment, and these young generation play with these pills and not knowing that the pill they just took. And if you look at the amount, you take it, what they compare it usually to on a painting, the tip of Abraham Lincoln's beard, just that little bit amount would kill somebody my size.
Wow.
Why isn't this considered an act of war?
Well,
I mean, that's a rhetorical question. But
there's a show that y'all need to watch. It's called Trafficked with Mariana Van Zeller. She goes undercover in these fentanyl labs, and these guys are all disguised, and they're showing how they make this stuff. They get all the ingredients from China, of course. and that comes over to Mexico. They make it, and she talks to them. It's like, aren't you guys concerned? The people, the innocent men, women, children, adults, kids that you guys are potentially going to die from this. They're like, no, it's all about money. They don't care. They say the Americans are dumb enough to buy it. We're going to keep selling it.
Yep.
Like that.
Wow.
Once again, there's people, and bless their hearts, in this country that don't understand the severity that there are such bad people out there that they almost thrive on when they see somebody hurting or death. And that's what we try to explain, that you can't just negotiate with everybody. There are a lot of people you can. Some people having a bad day, you could talk them out of something, but there's some people that have a one-track mind.
Well, we're getting a crash course in that.
We are. Lately. We're getting a hard lesson learned. So, with fentanyl, the governor made a declaration that October is Fentanyl Poisoning Awareness Month because it's killing our kids. Just these kids, you see a lot of these mothers and fathers going online talking about, my kid never smoked a cigarette or drank, but he tried one of these pills at a party, and next thing you know, he never woke up. He just it just shuts you down.
Horror stories.
And puts you to sleep forever. And unfortunately, you look back at the stats in 1999, there were 730 deaths nationwide. Not bad. I mean, that's not many at all. And now last year was 74,000, and it's just going up every day because it's become so prevalent in all these street drugs. And it increased 90% from 2020 to 2021. And that's just in Texas alone, our deaths.
Are they bringing this up in the schools?
Yes, we have a safety program that, guys like me, the PIOs, we go to these high schools and middle schools where these kids start experimenting with things, and we talk about the dangers of it. And, we were all young and dumb. We did dumb things too. And it's, they think, oh, it's a Xanax. It'll make you feel good and just try one. Well, they didn't realize they got that off the street and that directly from Mexico, because you can't tell the difference. We have posters with photographs and slides that show these pills from a pharmacy and show the ones pressed in Mexico. You can't tell the difference.
Wow.
Some of them you can if you look really, really close, but what kid's going to know what it's supposed to?
Yeah.
It has the numbers and everything, the shape of it, it's all correct. And they've mastered this art down there, and unfortunately, because it's a $1 billion industry. So,
well,
that's sad.
So maybe here we go. Happy news.
We got any good news there?
Safety tips for a happy spooktacular Halloween.
All right.
Okay. Whew, finally got something good. And I know y'all gonna quit inviting me over here. I have to spew all this nonsense and rhetoric of, just sadness.
No, bucket of joy today.
Halloween was always one of my favorites as a kid. I always dressed up, and maybe it's the cooler weather because I hate the summer heat. Everybody knows this who knows me well, that I despise the heat.
I'll bet you hated this summer.
I was actually angry. Most of what was it, July and August? I got to the point where if I didn't work here in Texas, I'd have moved to Wyoming or Alaska. I'll freeze all day long because you could put clothes on, but you can't take it off. And these people that when it gets to 60, like, oh no, I'm cold. No, enjoy it. Embrace it, because we burn 99% of the year. Anyway, all right, back to this spectacular Halloween. I told you I get distracted.
Damn it.
Squirrel. DPS, has some safety tips about being vigilant for not just drivers, but trick-or-treaters. And now for the drivers, be on the lookout for the trick-or-treaters and other pedestrians. Lots of people will be out and they may not be paying attention. I know I didn't when I was running around with a bag full of candy.
No.
I already ate half of it on mid going through the neighborhood. Of course, there's a lot of adult parties. A lot of adults like to do this Halloween stuff, dress up. Usually it's the Saturday before. Remind them, don't drink, drive, have a good time. Designate a sober driver, or take a ride share program or a cab. They still have cabs somewhere?
I don't think so.
Big cities, maybe. Staying alert, eliminate distractions in your vehicle, include the use of mobile devices, your navigation or app, because remember, the kid's going to be out to keep your eyes on the road. And even after dark, the trick-or-treating, when I was a kid, we always waited till dark, and now they try to do it before.
Yeah.
And now they have these parking lots called trunk or treat. I actually take part in that. I bring my patrol car, buy a bunch of candy, throw in the back, and all the kids come.
Yeah, I take my kids to some trunk or treating.
Yeah.
Then he gets the squad car stolen.
I get beat up by a bunch of little ghouls.
Yeah.
And trick-or-treaters, remember, number one, here's some sad news, but serious news. Visit the Texas Public Sex Offender Registry, because remember, these kids are going house to house to house. What better opportunity for somebody who's willing to do harm to kids to do that? So they're all on the map. So make sure whatever area you're going to look that up on our website.
That's good. I didn't even think about that.
That's a great idea.
These predators, when there's an opportunity, they jump on it sometimes. So when trick-or-treating, look both ways for crossing the road and use crosswalks only and at street corners. Walk on sidewalks when possible. If there are no sidewalks, remember which way you're supposed to walk.
Towards traffic.
Towards traffic, not into traffic. Towards it.
Towards it.
So they can see you.
Bicycles, you ride with traffic. If you're a pedestrian, you walk against it. So make sure if there are no sidewalks available, then you're on the street to walk against traffic. have some adult supervision if you can. Carry a flashlight or glow sticks, or turn your cell phone flashlight on and walk it with your hand to give some kind of visibility. Because there's nothing worse that I thought as a kid. When I had my costume all cool and ready to go, they like put some reflective tape on it. I'm like, no, Spider-Man wasn't reflective.
That's right.
I'm not going to do that. So
In his little DPS.
I'm amazing I
DPS
survived. But it was the
costume.
80s.
Yeah.
I was a little mini
Not so
trooper.
cool.
80s.
Yeah, the 80s. I survived. It was a good time. Never enter the homes of strangers and avoid homes where the porch lights are turned off. So make sure the children know the phone number of an adult and how to call 911 in case they become lost. And a child should avoid wearing masks that cover their eyes to allow for better visibility. And avoid toy guns or knives. They can be mistaken for a real weapon. You know what offended me the most, though, because I was so tall. I remember I'd go to these houses and they're like, "Aren't you a little old to be trick-or-treating?" I'm like,
What?
I'm 7. I'm sorry, I'm 6 foot tall at 7 years old. Don't make me use my rubber knife.
Because I think people are saying now, like, if you get a teenager at your door, give them some candy because they could be out doing something different.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or the ones the teenagers that show up your door with the pillowcase and they didn't even dress up. I'm like, what are you supposed to be?
Well, if you're gonna go enjoy it, go dress
At least
up.
dress up.
Empty wrappers.
So, and of course at the end, like we did in the 80s, dump all the candy out, go through it, make sure they didn't put razor blades or something in it, or needles.
Does that still happen?
I don't know.
I
Has it
haven't
ever
heard of it.
happened? I'm sure it has somewhere in the world.
Probably.
Like I said, there's people out there that
People are
do some
crazy
horrible,
right
horrible
now.
things. So, and I got one more thing. We good on time?
Yeah.
We got till 5 p.m. I think, right?
We
Yeah,
have
we're
to
good.
pan.
Yeah.
It's National School Bus Safety Week, October 16th through the 20th. We want to remind everybody to pay attention, not just this week, but year round. When you see these big yellow dogs, we call them, taking these kids to school. I saw a bunch of them this morning, and they're nice and reflective and won my life because it's still dark at 7 o'clock. Make sure that you're just being cognizant of the kids and the bus stops in your area. So,
All right. Also, I don't know if you knew this Halloween, if you see a kid with a blue or a teal bucket, that means either they have a food allergy or they are autistic and
that's right.
speech impaired.
I've heard that. I've seen that.
Oh.
Speech impaired.
Yeah, so they can't be like trick or treat. I don't know
so
what.
they may not
I
say
got you.
anything. So so the blue bucket instead of the
Interesting.
traditional
Yeah.
orange one, but we always had the pillowcase. We didn't mess around with that bucket. We wanted
Yeah.
all of
I've,
it.
I've had Walmart bags. You know.
They always have a hole in the bottom.
Yeah,
You got to
I
double
get
it
a
up.
wheelbarrow.
do.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
crazy.
Sergeant Washko from the Texas Department of Public Safety, and for his I'd like to get him in every month,
Yeah,
but sometimes
I'm not out gallivanting.
he's not
Busy-
able to
busy
drive
person.
because he's gone to wedding receptions. And when's the last time you've been down to the beach?
The beach. I'm not a beach person. We go down there with friends. That was in August. Right?
'Cause
August.
that's heat.
But
Oh, that's
it's heat and sand. in
It was
places you
cooler
don't
down
want it.
there than it was here.
Oh, I know. But I leave again next week for North Carolina.
What?
To the mountains. Yeah, I do that every October.
Are you jealous? You're jealous.
Remember, I'll send you pictures.
What do you do? You take 2 weeks off of your vacation to come in and do some
No,
DPS stuff?
I leave. I leave. I have a lot of vacation after all these years. I have to burn it. No, we leave on a Saturday, come back on a Saturday, meet the in-laws over there. So
Wow,
Oh,
nice.
it's always a good time. I've showed you pictures of that.
Yeah, I know. I was
bears,
jealous.
Bald eagles
Yeah,
flying
don't-
around. It's a heck of a view from the cabin, and it's cool.
Margaritas.
Yeah, well, no, they don't have those over there, but
What?
Not in North Carolina.
Oh.
No, it's a Texas thing, but
No.
he brings his own stuff.
Don't check your trunk. You're gonna find a Ken in it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like he's trafficking booze up in North Carolina when he
Across
leaves here.
state lines, I know.
All right, Sergeant, we
Okay.
want to, or Casey and the TikTok viewers and a lot of the listeners really want to know the behind the scenes of Sergeant Washko.
Oh God.
So after we come back from the commercial break, Casey's going to ask you some personal questions.
They're not that
Re-
personal.
Real personal questions.
Okay.
And just so everybody can get the guy behind the badge.
Yeah.
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 You want to do that?
Sure.
It'll
why
be
not?
fun.
It'll be lightning.
Be entertaining, that's for sure.
Okay. It's 8:34, 26 before 9. That makes online your hits from the 80s, 90s, and today. Stick around.
Ken and Casey in the morning, celebrating 2 weeks without a restraining order. Mix Online.
Come and see why so many people are becoming fans. At Fans Automotive, we understand your vehicle is your livelihood. Days down for repairs can put a monkey wrench in your daily